I'm sure you've heard a lot about Omar Mateen, the man who killed approximately 50 people in an Orlando gay club earlier this month. Probably more than you ever wanted to know. But I doubt you've heard much about James Howell, the man who was arrested on the same day heading to a gay pride parade in LA. You may have heard his name and that he had some guns and an unknown explosive substance in his car, but I doubt you've heard the real story. Since I think it would be a waste of my time and yours for me to talk more about Orlando, I'm going to fill you in on the details of James Howell and what was going on in LA while Mateen was slaughtering people in Orlando. James Howell was reported by the LA Times to have been caught on his way to the LA Pride Parade on June 12th with a, quote, cache of weapons, ammunition, and explosive-making materials in his car. They reported that the Santa Monica police chief, Jacqueline Seabrooks, tweeted that the man told police he wanted to, quote, harm the gay pride event. Later on, another member of the Santa Monica police said that this was a misstatement and Howell never claimed to want to harm the event. Lieutenant Saul Rodriguez clarified that he did indicate he was planning on going to the Pride event, but he never stated his motives or intentions. Instead, the police force simply assumed that, because he had weapons in his car, he was planning on killing people, which many would see as a safe assumption, but I'm an innocent until proven guilty kind of girl. The moment I heard that the police chief had tweeted incorrect information, I became suspicious. But before we get into that, let's clarify what a false flag is for anyone who doesn't know. The term false flag refers to covert operations that are intended to deceive the public or any third party into believing that actions committed by one group are actually committed by another. Fun fact, historically it was a naval term describing the use of a deceptive flag on one ship in order to trick another. If this isn't clear for you, it will be when we apply it to the case of James Howell. It has been reported by some third-party news sites that two anonymous Santa Monica police officers have claimed that Howell was part of a team that planned attacks on gays in both Florida and California. They also claimed that Howell told police he was turning himself in because he wanted protection. He told them that the recruiters from the group promised that he would not be harmed in the shooting, but when he heard the news that Mateen had been killed, he realized his own life was not safe either. He went to try to meet with another of the group of 5, only to find that he had disappeared and was not answering his phone. When questioned about who the other members of the group were, Howell named Dan, his partner in LA, Omar, and Brandy, Omar being obviously Omar Mateen and Brandy being another shooter in Orlando. He claimed that the organizers of the group told him that Omar and Brandy were supposed to get away, and the fact that Omar was killed scared him enough to turn himself in for protection. So why is it that we haven't heard these facts from the mainstream media? The FBI is investigating this case, and they have control over what gets released to the media. Here's where that term false flag comes into play. Now, before you start yelling about conspiracy theories and talking about tinfoil hats, think about the term conspiracy theory for a minute. Why do you automatically disregard anything you deem to be a conspiracy? Because it's legitimately impossible, or because you have a knee-jerk reaction to ignore anything that seems to you to be conspiratorial? If you avoid that reaction and hear me out, you might be surprised at how possible this theory really is. We know for a fact that the FBI runs covert and undercover operations daily. These are often called sting operations and are purposely deceptive in order to catch someone committing a crime. Typically, in a sting operation, a law enforcement officer plays a role as a criminal or a potential victim and plays along with the criminal until they get enough evidence to arrest them. One kind of sting operation that everyone knows about has to do with prostitution. One officer will pose as a prostitute and attempt to catch a person in a transaction and then arrest him. But these sting operations happen in a lot of other areas as well. The FBI is very practiced in situations like sting operations, so they are fully equipped to execute a false flag such as this one. That one event that I mentioned earlier that arose suspicion in me is a very good clue that this might be true. After the FBI took control of the investigation from the Santa Monica Police, Police Chief Jacqueline Seabrooks changed her original story that Howell was with a group of people who intended to do harm at the Pride event. Her altered report made no other mention of anyone but Howell. The fact that she changed her story at all is highly suspicious. But this all leads to one very important question. Why would the FBI be executing a false flag such as this one? There is one clear conclusion we can come to from these facts. The FBI may have wanted to perform this false flag in order to steer the conversation yet again to gun control. We know that many politicians are vehemently against our Second Amendment rights, and we can assume that many of the upper echelons of law enforcement are as well. Howell had multiple guns and tannerite in the back of his car. He's also had previous gun-related charges against him. The left-leaning public can easily label him as a gun nut. They can point to him and say, this is what you get when just anyone can go out and buy a gun. They'll be wrong, but that's what they'll do. And that is why there are 4 gun control measures being voted on in the Senate this week. There are many sources to show that gun control does nothing to reduce gun violence. All you have to do is look at places like Chicago and see that it doesn't work. Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, including being a part of the only state where you have to have a special identification card in order to legally possess guns or ammunition. And it has one of the highest gun crime rates. Even the CDC has concluded that gun control laws like mandatory waiting periods and bans on certain weapons, among others, do nothing to alleviate gun violence. But that's a topic for another time. Have an opinion? Leave me a comment below. I'll never delete comments, and I will reply to as many as I can. If you have an idea for a story I should do, or you just want to get a hold of me, tweet at me at littlemissskeptic. And follow me on Twitter for updates and opinions about news, politics, and general tomfoolery. If you like my videos, please consider becoming a part of the skeptical family. Your support is so important right now in getting these questions and facts out there. We can't let the leftists bury the facts and push emotion before logic. Please share my videos with anyone you think might enjoy them and urge more people to support those of us who are trying to expose the truth and logic in the world. Thanks for watching!